Gene Deal that works for Diddy that says that he saw a check that a guy named Eric Von Zip had, and he told him that the check was for the murder of Tupac Shakur. I saw the check for Pac's life. Eric Von Zip had a check in his right back pocket, and he said it came from Black Ground Records, right? Well, Jimmy Henchman was working with Black Ground Records.
Is you finished or is you done? Because nobody would have been able to write $1 million check on Black Ground Records except the owner, Barry Hankerson. Dumb and Dumber, no GED deal, and choke is a fucking joke, wants everybody to believe that Diddy is responsible for the death of Tupac and Biggie. But it does not make sense to anyone that has a brain that works. Let's start with Tupac. These two idiots say Gene Deal saw a check from Black Ground Records for $1 million. Black Ground Records is Barry Hankerson, Aaliyah's uncle, who was married to Gladys Knight, managed the Winans. At that time, he was managing R. Kelly, who was the hottest thing in R&B. He was managing Aaliyah, who had already released her album with Rob and was working on and releasing her album with Missy Elliott and Timbaland, which would have been out at the time of this alleged hit. So Barry Hankerson, the founder and owner of Black Ground Records, they want us to believe, wrote a check on a Federal Reserve Bank funded check to $1 million for the assassination, the murder of the biggest rapper in the world. These are two of the dumbest motherfuckers on YouTube, on the internet. And anybody that listens to them has got to be dumber than them. How the fuck do you expect me to believe that Barry Hankerson, who was at the height of his money-making ability, managing Aaliyah and R. Kelly, who were at the height of their popularity and money earning, decided to write $1 million check on a Federal Reserve Bank checking account? That means the bank is funded by the Federal Reserve. All banks are, which means it's controlled by the feds. He wrote a check for the murder of Tupac Shakur. That is the most asinine theory I've ever heard in life. Only idiots would say something that fucking stupid, and only idiots would believe it. So that's been debunked. Now we get to Biggie. He says he wanted to go to California to get Biggie killed. Well, he brought security with him. It was security's job to know that there was a gang retaliation threat. Even if you never got a call, you knew that Tupac had only been dead 6 months. Biggie and Puff were blamed for it. You're going into enemy territory. Soon as the plane touches down, security is supposed to go to the nearest sheriff's office, police department closest to the Peterson Museum, talk to the captains, arrange for a police escort to and from the venue, arrange for police to be in heavy rotation outside the museum, inside the museum, get vests for Biggie and Puff, and know where the nearest ambulance, hospital, fire department is in advance, and go through drills with everybody on Puff's and Biggie's team. In the event of an emergency, this is what we're going to do, and have an entrance strategy and an exit strategy with the security from the museum, and coordinate all of that with the sheriffs, the police, the Peterson Museum security, Puff's security, and Biggie's security. Gene Deal was supposed to spearhead that. He did none of that. No security was in place because there was no security outside the venue when he moved a slow moving target, Biggie, out in broad, not daylight, but the street lights were on. That's a main city street in LA where the Peterson Museum is. So you move a slow moving target. He said Biggie legs were had some type of illness that he moved slow. You bring him out the front door, sit him in the front seat where he's visible, and then you tell your driver to run through the lights so that you guys are not caught in the line of fire. Everything points to Gene Deal working with the shooter. There's no way you can even say Puff had anything to do with it. But 100% of what Gene Deal did do and what he didn't do says he was the one that was the mole inside, the Judas from within, and the enemy inside the camp, who worked with the shooter to guarantee it was a clean execution of Biggie. He was jealous of Puff. You heard him say he handed me his briefcase like he a boss. He is your boss, motherfucker. He was signing your check and he hired you. He had the power to hire you and the power to fire you. Gene Deal was jealous of Puff because he was a street dude who Puff was under before he made it, and he couldn't accept the fact that Puff rose up to be bigger than him. He was jealous. He was envious, and I believe he wanted to destroy Puffy's success. And what better way to do that than to get rid of his biggest asset, which is Biggie? I believe Gene Deal was working in concert with the shooter. He helped the shooter have a clean execution and a clean getaway.